Hello everybody, and welcome back to the new VR news. As always, I am Mateo311, and this is your one channel for everything VR related. Today, we're checking out some amazing new upcoming titles, finally seeing some positive VR media coverage, and we have some amazing new VR hardware to check out, including the next Oculus Quest, PlayStation VR face tracking, and even a potential cure to VR motion sickness. So if you guys end up enjoying the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, consider subscribing. Okay guys, let's get into this. So first up in the VR news, I am very happy to report that Respawn Entertainment has said that Medal of Honor Above and Beyond is still on track for its 2020 release. Now this game was originally announced last September and we haven't heard much else since. And during these times, movies and video games are getting delayed left and right. But as of right now, I'm just happy to hear we still have a new AAA title on the way for 2020. So next up, we got a trailer and some gameplay footage of an upcoming third-person adventure game called Rinlo. The game is set to release on Steam next month in early access, and it appears to feature some stunning animations. Now this game is set in a steampunk dystopia, but I'm still getting some strong Moss vibes off this title, and I'll be sure to cover this game for you guys at release. Next up, we got a release date for the sequel to The Wizards, a title that was originally released in 2018. The sequel is titled The Wizards Dark Times, and it's scheduled to release next month on June 4th. The Wizards was an action-adventure VR title in which you battled an assortment of creatures with an array of different magical spells. Dark Times is set to continue this campaign and features an all-new reworked gesture spell-based system. So next up, we got 9 minutes of gameplay from an upcoming title called Undead Citadel. This game will have you fighting hordes of undead creatures throughout a 10-level story campaign. It features a brutal and gory physics-based combat system, which allows for things like dismemberment or decapitation. It also features a horde mode and over 60 weapons. Now there is no official release date for this game yet. It is listed as second quarter 2020, which is rapidly coming to an end. I'm looking forward to get my hands on this title, and when I know more, you guys will know more. So next up, the developers of Holoception have given us something amazing to play with, and that's the Physics Hand Lab available for the Oculus Quest. You could download it via SideQuest, and it gives you a glimpse of the full potential of camera-based hand tracking for the Oculus Quest. As we know, the lack of haptic feedback doesn't make hand tracking ideal for most games, but it's great to see someone attempting to push the boundaries of what can be possible. So last up in the game news, I always try to include a free title, and the upcoming asymmetrical VR title, Vigo, is currently in a public alpha. There will be a link in the description if you want to go download this game. Now this game features one VR player in a battle against up to 4 flat screen gamers. It's a David vs Goliath grudge match, and you truly feel empowered as the VR player and equally vulnerable as a flat screen gamer. Now while I haven't tested Vigo out yet, I'm intrigued by the concept, and I'm also a huge fan of another asymmetrical title known as Takeling's House Party. So I look forward to seeing more from this game. Okay guys, let's move into the software news. So first up, a recent Steam hardware analysis indicates that 58 million users now have VR-ready hardware. Historically, the high cost of VR equipment has been stated as one of the major limiting factors preventing the VR industry from growing. This, in combination with headsets becoming much more affordable, makes the future of VR look bright, a sentiment that's been echoed on a few new articles covering VR. Now recently, I've spoken about some really poorly executed articles from Forbes and New York Times, and I was really happy to recently read an article from Digital Trends covering not only the growth of VR, but also how valuable it has become as a training tool. Companies like HP are truly embracing VR, but the article that really made my day was a satirical counter to the New York Times article I spoke about last week. The article comes from VR Dizzy, and I will put a link to it in the description. Not only does it counter the New York Times article, but it's also a hysterical read with some hilarious lines such as, VR has struggled to replace tetherball and push the onion as the most popular leisure activities for humans. So if you're sick of the recent VR is dead articles, just check this out, it'll totally make your day. Okay, so moving into the hardware news, we have 3 items to cover. And the first one is Bloomberg basically reaffirming the Oculus Del Mar leaks from over a month ago. If you're not familiar with this, some code snippets and disclaimers from Facebook were leaked onto the internet, and they referenced a new mobile VR headset and new controllers, referred to as the Del Mar and Jedi controllers respectively. Well, a recent Bloomberg article seems to affirm this information, stating that Oculus is working on a smaller, lighter, better spec'd mobile HMD, including a higher refresh rate screen and additional horsepower. Now, Bloomberg has been right in the past. They did have the scoop before the Oculus Quest released, and this is completely in line with what we are already expecting. Now, I am starting to receive some other information that makes it look like we will be receiving new mobile headsets sooner than expected. I'm under the impression we will hear some information by the end of this month, with new hardware releasing before the end of the year. And it's not just from Facebook. So next up, we have some more VR research and development coming out of Sony. Last week we showed off potential finger tracking, and now it looks like Sony is also trying to track a user's face. So a new patent reveals the potential to track a user's face with cameras located on the bottom of the VR headset. Anything that increases the immersion level in VR, I am all for, and facial tracking would have a dramatic impact to socializing in VR environments. So next up, we have a new head-mounted VR haptic system that not only helps to prevent motion sickness, but can also increase the level of realism and overall immersion. Now, this is currently only a research project out of a university in Taiwan. The limited study used a head-mounted haptic system, which provides feedback to correlate with things like footsteps. The major cause of VR motion sickness is when your visual experience is not matching up with your physical experience. This mismatch is what causes the discomfort for those who suffer from VR motion sickness. While the majority of VR users do eventually adjust to smooth locomotion, there is, however, a small percentage of people who will never overcome this discomfort. Now, if small vibrating motors attached to the side of a VR headset is all that's needed to alleviate this issue, you can expect to see this implemented on VR headsets in the future or sold as a standalone device. Now, with only 200 people, the study was quite small and definitely not enough to produce anything definitive, but it's great to see yet another VR hurdle being tackled. Okay everybody, that was today's new VR news. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm looking forward to covering all these new games, and I can't wait to get my hands on a new updated mobile VR headset or the PlayStation VR 2, as I do plan to cover next generation PlayStation VR titles. Okay guys, I'll see you on next time.